It's a huge window for strikers or forwards to get moves because there's a lot of forwards potentially available. There's also a lot of Premier League clubs in the market for forwards. Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea and United are all rumoured to be interested in bringing in a new striker. And I think if you're doing any sort of transfer type of show, I know both of you guys work on other verticals, this is a good window for it. We've got Victor Gyokores, Isak, Liam Delap, Cesco, Rodrigo and Oshimen all on the list in front of us. I would also put Julian Alvarez on there as well. Let's start with Victor Gyokores. Arsenal linked last summer at Sporting. He's got 38 goals in 32 games this season. Where do you think he goes? Who do you think he suits?
I think there's a good chance that he ends up at Arsenal. They looked at him in the past, from what I understand, but were put off by his huge release clause, which was about 100 million euros. That is no longer the case. That's no longer the situation. Sporting would be willing to sell him for significantly less. And since Andrea Berta's come in as Arsenal's new sporting director, it's said that he's really keen on this player. And he's kind of forcing this one down Mikel Arteta's throat a little bit. In the past, we've heard of Cesco, who's another player we're going to talk about being the number one and the priority. But I think Gyokores ends up at Arsenal.
He's probably the one I think on the list. Maybe there's two on the list that go to Arsenal and settle in straight away. The other one is Alexander Isak, 25 at Newcastle, 23 goals in 33 games. They're very likely to make the Champions League at the time of recording. Can you see him going? He's the one on the list where I go, I just don't think anyone's going to have the money to sign him.
The finances don't make sense. Every now and again, a player just comes along and for some reason, their commercial value is just, I think it outweighs what they actually produce. Like Alexander Isak is a great striker, right? He scored over 20 goals this season in the league. I don't think he's worth what Newcastle want for him in terms of 150 million. I think that in modern football, you can't afford to do that with FFP in place as well, or PSR. And so I think Isak, he's coveted by all the clubs. Everybody would love Isak. Nobody can afford him. I think he ends up going to a club like Barcelona in a couple of years when the price comes down a little bit.
Barcelona ain't got money either.
No, exactly. No, I agree with Kweki. I think that he's a really good player. He's a top player. But Newcastle's, wealth as a football club, and I know they've had PSR issues recently and they've had to keep their powder dry for a couple of seasons, but their wealth means that they're not desperate. They don't need to. They're not going to be tempted by an offer that they believe is below his value. So I think he stays put.
Liam Delap at Ipswich, 22 years of age, heavily linked to Manchester United. Your fist bumping because I know you kind of want him at Chelsea.
He's a good player, man. He's a very, very good player. I think
he's gone fully into media mode. He's that manager. He's a good player.
No, but people sleep on Liam Delap, and he's not as fashionable, as sexy as these names like Isak and Gyokores. But Liam Delap is a very good player. Scored a lot of goals for a Ipswich team that didn't create too many chances. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. People get bored of it. The thread that runs through England strikers, from Gary Lineker through to Alan Shearer, through to Michael Owen, through to Wayne Rooney, through to Harry Kane. Liam Delap is the next one. The next move is crucial. He has to go to the right football club. But I think that Liam Delap, if he finds the right club, will score a lot of goals. He comes from good footballing stock. Obviously, his dad was a footballer as well. He came up in the Man City's academy playing the right type of football. He's now cut his teeth at Ipswich, a team that's struggling near the bottom of the Premier League. It's time for him to make that step. Whether Manchester United, who are rumoured to be in lead or pole position to sign him, is the right club remains to be seen. But I think Liam Delap will score a lot of goals for whoever he goes to.
I really respect Kweki, but to put Liam Delap's name with some of those names that you mentioned was wild.
Can I issue a statement? It was wild to put Harry Kane's name in that conversation in 2014. And then in that 14-15 season, he went and set the league alight. And people weren't too sure. When Harry Kane was on loan at Leyton Orient, did you think you'd see this? When he was on loan at Leicester or Norwich, did you think you'd see this? No. Liam Delap's already done it at this level. And he's only got the world at his feet. The world is his oyster. I think he's destined for the very top.
Manchester United need a striker that is going to elevate them. They're going to end up, if they go and get Liam Delap, they're signing another Xerxes or Højlund, a player whose hype is bigger than his ability, and they're going to leave themselves with egg on their faces again. He might go on to be a good striker. I haven't seen enough to say with chest he's going to be a top striker, and therefore clubs like Manchester United shouldn't even be looking at him.
I like him. I like him a lot, to be fair. And
Can I say one more thing?
He loves Liam Delap.
No, because when Victor Gyokores was coming off the bench for Swansea in the Championship at the age of 22, did anybody think that he'd be this player right now? If a team would have taken a gamble and signed him at that point in time and developed him the right way, you'd be saving yourself 50, 60 million pounds.
I hear it, but Ipswich to Manchester United, considering the state Manchester United are in, it's the poison chalice, as you often say.
But also, Victor Gyokores got his move to a big European club in Sporting and has done it on the European stage week after week with Sporting. He's been brilliant. Liam Delap has got 12 goals with Ipswich, who have just been relegated. Doing it with Sporting in the Champions League, that's where Gyokores is now. Delap's not there yet. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure we'll talk about him a lot. Benjamin Šeško, obviously linked to Arsenal, 21, the youngest on this list actually. Strange one. I think when he first came on the scene a couple of years ago, when he was really firing, people said this guy's going to the top. Maybe some were putting him in a similar situation as Harry Kane and the like. But his name's not being mentioned as aggressively in terms of links to Arsenal or Liverpool or top clubs. Do you think he gets a move?
I think he could be on the move, but I worry a bit with Cesco that he's going to be priced out of one. So a few years ago, there was talk that he could go for like around 55, 60 million euros, which felt kind of reasonable. Risk versus reward, young striker on the up. Okay, let's do it. Let's see what happens. But now you're hearing that release clause has been bumped up. And I think there's a lot of confusion about what that release clause actually looks like. You can't find it anywhere, by the way.
Yeah.
If you search it, you'll get a thing of, it's not quite clear, but it's believed to be between 50 and 75. That's a big gap.
Yeah.
And if it is sort of towards the top end of that, it's a lot of money, and I'm not sure anyone's going to pay that.
Really quick on Cesco, I think that clubs will end up being in the same situation that they're with Alexander Isak. When Isak was leaving Sociedad, the goal scoring record was not prolific, but we all saw the talent. We want somebody else to take the risk first before you go and make that move. Newcastle took that risk and they're reaping the rewards. Will probably triple their money for him. I think Cesco, wherever he goes, will score goals. The talent's there, but I just don't think these top clubs want to take the risk on him.
All right, Rodrigo. I don't know how he's ended up on this list because I don't see him leaving Real Madrid because I think he makes that front line sort of like, he's like the missing piece in the front line. He's only got 11 goal contributions this season, which is quite interesting because he's one of these players that every Wednesday night you're watching the Champions League or Tuesday night, he turns up with something. But I don't think he gets a move, so we can move on. He's been linked to Liverpool, but I don't think he's going to play any football on that right side because Salah's there. So unless either of you are feeling very strongly about him,
I'm pretty sure those goal contributions are in the league only. I think he's definitely done more across the course of the season. But where this comes from is there was a report that came out of AS, Spanish outlet, where they said that he's unhappy at Madrid, that he feels underappreciated and that he's asked to leave. So that's what
I saw his Instagram comment yesterday where he said people talk too much. So I'm going to suggest that he might not be moving, but he may do. You never know.
He's playing out of position. I think he could.
Again, though, if his market value is 100 million euros, as what it looks like online, who's going to buy him?
Manchester United. Victor Osimhen, the last one on the list, was at Napoli, now on loan at Galatasaray, scored 35 goals in the league this season, 8 assists. I think a couple of years ago we did a transfer show together and we were like, he's definitely going to Chelsea, he's definitely going to Chelsea, he's definitely going to Chelsea. He's going to Chelsea.
I think that if we are to break our model and exceed the wages that we want to pay a player, I know that there's like a cap of 150, 160,000 pounds a week. I think that Osimhen could be that player. Finished the article, scored a lot of goals in Turkey. Maybe not on the radar of teams and fans because he's not playing in one of the top European leagues. But he did lead Napoli to the Scudetto, scoring a lot of goals in that season. Very talented striker. The one concern I had is when I watched him at AFCON, he did a lot of the running and there was a lot of endeavour there, but the final kind of piece in front of goal, it wasn't there consistently enough. But he's a player that I think if he goes to Chelsea will fit what Chelsea is. Chelsea fans will fall in love with him. And apparently he's a Chelsea fan, so let's see.
This is a big market opportunity for someone because Napoli are desperate to get him off their books. They loaned him to Galatasaray because they couldn't find a buyer when they brought Romelu Lukaku in. Their asking price was too high. A year later, they'll be well aware of the fact that the market's changed and he's no longer worth that, having been, with all due respect, playing in Turkey. The value's dipped. I think there's a market opportunity for someone to pick him up for 40, 45 million quid, which is good value.
All right, let us know in the comments which strikers or which forwards are going where and for how much.